I feel what's changed is that there are women voices now. Initially, they didn't exist. If you talk to me about the Instagram space, Malika Dua started making this really funny Instagram videos, and I think it empowered a lot of women.
With my parents, I did not honestly have an issue because they could see how miserable I was when I was doing radio, and it's just, I'm having a day.
I felt really worthless and shitty, but luckily I became famous and people were like, wow, you're amazing. So I was like, yeah, I'm amazing. But no, yeah, people do reach out because there's so much emphasis put on the way one looks. But beyond that, what is there? There is so much to you as a person.
Could be jobless for many, many, many days, and you have to think about how you're gonna make it work and make it sustainable.
You know, it's so much fun to talk to Prajakta. You want to be a radio jockey, you'll be the best. And I believed it. And I told myself that every single day till I became a radio jockey, and I heard myself and I was like, this is bullshit. This is a horrible show.
My biggest trigger is when I'm sexualized without my consent. Like if somebody is saying something about my body or my face, I don't like it. I am the owner of how I want to see myself, and if I should or should not be sexualized. That was my only trigger.
Content is king. Oh, come on, that's a passe. Because I'm sitting with three queens who have redefined content in today's times. Streaming now only on Bollywood Bubble are Prajakta Kohli, Ritasha Rathore, and Kusha Kapila. First of all, guys, a huge thank you and a huge shout out, because genuinely that needed a change, and I'm happy that you guys are the face and voice of change. As a person who's always loved and watched your content, kudos to you guys for doing what you guys are doing, have done, and continue to do.
Thanks, Nayan.
Thank you,
so
PK.
much. Also, it's so nice talking to you again.
Yay! Finally, they have decided to do it with men also. I think it needed that. You know, women always usually respect women. I've seen that. But it's very difficult to get a section of the male section, you know, the male population to respect women in positions that you guys are in. Usually we've never seen, I don't feel that still there is enough respect for women when it comes to comedy. How much of that have you faced and seen change over the years?
That was a blockbuster introduction, by the way.
Thank you.
I need to do better with my video intros after listening to that. And he's not following a script or a teleprompter. That was amazing. It's changed. I feel what's changed is that there are women voices now. Initially, they didn't exist. If you talk to me about the Instagram space, Malika Dua started making this really funny Instagram videos, and I think it empowered a lot of women to come out and tell their stories and tell their funny anecdotes and make content around it. So the biggest difference is that there weren't many voices, and now they are. So that's one big change, that the sheer existence of female voices, I think, is a fantastic change. And once we populate this area, this mainstream, with more female voices, then there will be more diversity. You know, the bare minimum has started, and now the other boxes that we need to tick, it'll happen, so on and so forth.
Absolutely. What about you, Ritasha?
What about me? I don't have much to say. I did one comedy gig in my life, which was a show on Netflix.
No, comedy is for them, but
Yeah.
I'm saying like sexism is a part of every workplace that we are often part of. So battling that.
You know, luckily, since I left my television days behind, that has not been an issue. I've worked with the most amazing people after that. Mostly women. I've been working on projects that have been led by women, whether it's Masaba or any of the other work I've done. It's not released yet. It's all been helmed by women, and that's what I'm like, wow, what a day to be alive. I am just enjoying and living my best life. And luckily, I've not had to face it.
What about you? You though?
Me needs. No, I completely agree to what Ritasha said. Also, I understand completely that it comes from a place of privilege when I say this, that I grew up in a family where sexism wasn't something that I faced. I work with a team where it's not something I faced. I have had the pleasure of working on multiple projects with multiple teams that are just wonderful and extremely inclusive and extremely neutral and diverse, where people of different genders and different ethnicities and overall just different people have come together and made beautiful content. So, I mean, like Kusha said, it's definitely changing because we now have more female voices, which is great. And yeah, I can't wait to see where it goes.
You know, I want to ask you that question, that when you guys decided to do what you are doing, this is art, right? Eventually, it's difficult to be an artist, and you guys are very good at that. It's also difficult to convince people around you that you want to become an artist, because often artistry is not a profession in India, especially. Even if you go to like metropolitan cities, like my niece who's 10 years old today, she wants to become a content creator because she watches you guys, which is a great thing. But many people in my family don't even understand that. Today, thanks to me, my mom and dad have understood that, but I don't see many families understanding that. Do you see that changing? And how difficult was it for you to convince people around you that this is a profession, guys, this is an occupation, this is actually a job?
With my parents, I did not honestly have an issue because they could see how miserable I was when I was doing radio. And it's just, I'm having a day. I'm having a very important day in my life, and I'm gonna say, well, fucking done, P. But it's a day, it's a moment. They knew how extremely miserable I was. So I remember my parents telling me this, that तुम्हें घर का राशन भरने की अभी सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है. You're young, so you do what you want to do. We are both here. And so I'd ask them for 1 year. They're like, why? You take 2 years, take 3 years, see where it goes. You never know. And for me at that point, that privilege, that blessing was extremely important because I was in the lowest phase. I will forever be grateful for having the parents that I have, because I wouldn't be here without them.
Absolutely. It's very important to have supporting family, you know, because when I was leaving my first job, I also was like, acha, 5 years I've done this job. What do I do? I'm leaving without another job. And is there a pressure? And my brother actually told me that it's okay, just take a 2-3 months break, 5 months, whatever. It's important, you know, you will not be doing it, but you still know that okay, agar kar bhi liya to matlab utna problem nahi, utna pressure nahi.
And it's important when it comes from your family.
Absolutely.
I think.
Yeah. What about you? Because you know, when you started off on TV, and somehow they slotted you in a particular image. To come out of that, you know, it has taken some time. And I would love to have, I do have, but everybody should have friends like Masawa does, which is you on this show. So coming out of that image, was it difficult ever?
No, I'm an actor. I just do my job. So I show up and I do my job. I also very blessed with supportive parents, honestly, because I always had this kida ki I want to be a performer. So my dad's a doctor. So he's like, if I had to be a doctor, I had to study so much. So if you need to be an actor, you need to study acting also. You can't just show up one day and say, मैं heroine बनना चाहती हूँ. So luckily, my parents were like, go and study acting. It all happened in a great way. It all worked out for me really well. It wasn't difficult to transition from playing any character to another, because that is what I'm born to do. I love what I do. It's my craft, and whatever the medium is, I'm happy to tell a story if that story is powerful and moving for an audience.
What about you, Kusha? When did you break it to your parents? Was it difficult at all?
I didn't have to break it to my parents because I was a grown-up when I made this decision, and I was an adult in my own right. It just happened for me like 3-4 years ago. I was already married, and I don't want to say it, but you know how like parents are. I mean, I'm in a very unconventional marriage in the sense like where both of us are just responsible for our own actions, and we don't really dominate each other's decisions when it comes to.
It's a great way to be.
And I don't think it's an unconventional marriage.
Should be the conventional.
Yeah, it should be the conventional marriage. But at the same time, my parents didn't really have a say in this. obviously, again, coming from a place of massive privilege, and just hearing all three of our answers, I think it's very important to acknowledge that we are massively privileged when it comes to getting support. But from an economical, yeah, from for people. So from an economical point of view, when I actually thought that it's economically viable to be an artist is when I had savings from the job that I had done, and I had, let's say, 3 brand deals in my hand, and I knew that I could make rent for the next 6 months. So from a strictly economical point of view, that's when I decided to become an artist. But I cannot imagine for somebody, how when we say, do what you love, make your passion your work, but that's everyone's reality is not the same. If somebody has to make rent, they have to take care of their family. My friends, they take care of their families, they support their families. Is it that easy for them to become an artist? I don't know. Is it economically viable for them to become an artist? I don't know, because we've not lived that struggle. I mean, I have not. So yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done when it says, when you tell somebody to become an artist, because you could be jobless for many, many, many days, and you have to think about how you're going to make it work and make it sustainable.
But your struggles have been very different. Everybody has a journey and everybody has a different struggle from each other. I remember the first time I had actually spoken to you was in an Instagram message, which you had not seen for years. But
sorry.
Yeah.
Instagram DM was like the worst place to message, but I'm sorry.
I'll tell you why. But because I didn't have a number, and I was really riled up with the kind of messages that were there on her post. And I started watching her, loving her as Billy Masi, like everybody else has, and your Riyaz and everything. And then I was like, you're talented, but often women are reduced to their age, to the clothes that they wear, or to their body type. And it's sad that not just men, women also do that to women. Online, especially today, because it's anonymous and it's easy to do. For both of you, that has been the struggle, and I know how powerfully you've put your stories out. For you, it has been a different kind of struggle, where it has been like years of bad treatment, and bad treatment in the job that you had been there, like where you were treated a little differently because you were an intern, if I'm not mistaken. So how do you see your life changing from there to now, where people come to you, walk up to you, take inspiration from you? And how did you deal with those lows then? Did it never bother you?
I'm just thinking, loaded question. For me, I feel like it's a part of the job. It's going to happen. If people are going to praise you, they're going to criticize you, and then some of them are going to be pretty damn mean about what they feel about you. You also get trained to perform better in this job, in the sense that you train yourself to become resilient. You train yourself to have a thick skin. You train yourself to pick your battles. Initially I was very confused about which battle to fight, which you could see on my Instagram, because I was a mess. And I don't think I say mess in a bad way. I say it in a very neutral way, that I was a mess in the sense I didn't know which battle to pick. And I was getting extremely affected, because I was operating solo. I only had just 2-3 people around me who would tell me what to do. And when you're a creator, you're also spontaneous. If something is affecting you, you just say it on your stories and it affects you. So initially I didn't know how to pick my battles. Now I know. And I feel like I'm in a much resilient, grounded, and a safer space in that sense. My biggest trigger is when I'm sexualized without my consent. Like if somebody's saying something about my body or my face, I don't like it. I am the owner of how I want to see myself, and if I should or should not be sexualized. That was my only trigger. And then once I got past that, and how to sort of take these issues somewhere else and maybe process them, maybe in therapy, I think it really helped me.
For you, I would like to tell you that I have had friends who have dealt with body image issues, not because they are not proud of who they are, but because they are constantly told that they shouldn't be that way. Like, I remember when I had gained a little weight, a lot of my friends told me that, "Arey, paid dikh raha hai," and all. And now when I've gotten skinnier, then they say, "Arey, matlab itna, matlab sukra." So you can never make anybody happy, right? It's about your peace of mind. I was happy then eating whatever I wanted. I'm happy now clean eating and getting to what I want. And I might have a packet of chips also without caring. Your post was very powerful. I remember that post where you came out, and I think you not only, it was not about acceptance because you already had accepted, but you gave power to a lot of other women and men who are dealing with body image issues in a lot of ways. Did people reach out to you after that post and say that to you? And I also want to know how you dealt, because we are running out of time, how you dealt with those days when you must have been told things like we were told.
Yeah, I felt really worthless and shitty, but luckily I became famous and people were like, "Wow, you're amazing." So I was like, "Yeah, I'm amazing." But no, yeah, people do reach out because there's so much emphasis put on the way one looks. But beyond that, what is there? There is so much to you as a person. And honestly, I was never so obsessed with my looks to begin with, which is why I even let myself go to the extent that I did, but I'm still not that looks obsessed. So I've just told people again and again, and people have also reached out and said, "Yeah, you're right." And it makes sense. Why don't we work on the other things that we love about ourselves, or develop a well-rounded personality and intellect, a kind heart, all of the things that are not to do with your aesthetic beauty,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Annoying. I hate beauty standards. It's like a sham. It's horrible.
There should be a separate conversation on that for sure.
Yeah, but I think with Ritasha, she just existed and people were like, wow, body positivity, revolution. She was just existing, and I think that really moved people.
And you, because, initially I knew you as a content creator. Now I know you as a person. So I love you even more because I know that you are an amazing, amazing person. But for an amazing person to be treated the way you were treated, it can make you bitter.
But Nayan, I mean, the treatment really was more internalized. I'll tell you why. Because I grew up thinking that मेरे से बेहतर radio jockey हो ही नहीं सकता है. I think what happened was less about everybody else around, because, I mean, let's be real. We all know that internship is a rite of passage in media, and it is tough.
It's a shitty industry.
Yeah.
People are treated like shit every day.
It's there. So मेरे साथ ऐसा कुछ एकदम से अलग नहीं हुआ. I wasn't one person who was targeted like that. I learned so much about content when I was doing radio. So I'll always be very grateful that I took that path. I took that to reach wherever I am right now. It's a very important turning point. But it was really more internal. When you disappoint yourself, where suddenly the glass shatters, where you're like, everything I have prepared for, or everything I thought I'm good at, I'm not. And I didn't need my boss to tell me that. Every day when I was to go to work, and I used to hate going to work, I started feeling things that I've never felt before, because I used to love going to college. I used to love going to school. I used to love waking up at any point early in the morning every single day for theatre rehearsals when I was in college. But that's when I realized that why am I not enjoying this? It's because I'm not able to do it. I'm not good at it. I think that realization was what really hit my self-esteem and confidence. That was what really pushed me far back up in my own head, because I was always thinking that everybody around me, growing up used to tell me, you speak so well, yeah. It's so much fun to talk to Prajakta. You want to be a radio jockey, you'll be the best. And I believed it. And I told myself that every single day till I became a radio jockey, and I heard myself and I was like, this is bullshit. This is a horrible show. So I think that disappointment, more than anyone else telling me I wasn't good at my job, the fact that I told myself every single day that I suck at this job, was what got to me more.
Finally, I want to ask you one thing, that, today when we see the content on digital platforms, in terms of anything, like whether it's the content that you guys create or the content that Netflix is creating, giving wings, I think there's an equal representation, if not more, of good, strong-headed women in their shows, in their movies, which is why something like this can be possible, because there are, in every movie, in every series, there's something to take away, you know. How do you see the society changing? Not just your, because there is still a lot of sexism, there is still a lot of shaming that you guys have to deal with, but I think it's reducing. I think men are also becoming feminists, bigger feminists, understanding the reality and the actual meaning of it. Do you see the change? And when people want to become like you guys, what do you guys have to say to them?
I think one of the biggest changes is that these characters got written and accepted by the audience, which is massive. You know, because a lot of times when something a little different from what was expected was written, it was always called artistic liberty, or it was always an indie film, you know what I'm saying? But now that it's normalized and being accepted and viewed and shared and liked and appreciated on public forums is what is definitely changing.
But do you know, sorry cutting you, but do you know a few years ago when this was not like the movement, the revolution had not started, if you see, there was an interview that Shah Rukh sir had given, I think to Rajiv Masand, and he said that the next generation of superstars will be digital superstars. And that's what's happened in the last 2 years, especially because of lockdown. How do you see that change? Basically that.
Oh, it's massive. As a person who started on stage and committed to being an actor, and now I see this whole new world that's exploded of people creating their own work on your smartphone that you can see and consume and enjoy, and you can laugh and cry with them. It's absolutely baffling, but also just so wonderful that it exists. It's great. So many talented people have come to the forefront, and now you don't have to say move to Bombay to make your dreams come true of being an actor. Karima, for example, wonderful creator from Delhi, not from Delhi, she's from Calcutta, but she's studying in Delhi. Anyway, so she kind of just is so funny and amazing. I love her, and she became famous. And maybe she's acting now, who knows? Can't say.
I feel like the opening of access has widened. You know, now things are more accessible. We have more female writers, more female storytelling. And while change is there, it's not enough. There is so much to do. We're just starting. And the start is important. And obviously, mainstream movies, you know, if like a Queen or Razi, you know, female writers have written some fantastic stuff, and it's getting accepted, which is great. But we need so much more of it, right? So we'll have to keep talking. We'll have to keep shouting. We'll have to keep reinforcing our voices. चिल्ला चिल्ला के हमको scheme बतानी पड़ेगी सबको.
I agree.
ताकि we get accepted more and more. So yeah.
That's why I said, like, you know, thank you for being the voices and faces of change. Hopefully there'll be a better tomorrow. Much better tomorrow. It is a good present, but maybe a better tomorrow. And yeah, thank you for doing this. Thank you for existing. More power to all of you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
man.